Hello teacher, good afternoon. In this short presentation I am going to explain about the cultural dimensions and communications in high versus low context culture. My name is Giovanni Cruz, our teacher Magister Nina Nesterenko. The subject in this period is teaching culture in the English foreign language class. Let's start. What is culture? The research conducted by Seward 1994. Culture is the set of characteristics of a specific group of people in a community. Okay, because we analyze or we include some aspect like a custom, tradition, norms that a group follow in order to have a good communication. Cultural dimension. Nina 2021 posits that the cultural dimension is the system of values in order to create or construct a good society, and also it helps us to recognize, respect others. It's very important to include all values in the society in order to understand and respect the rest. So it has allowed the development of cultural skill. It's necessary to develop the ability in order to learn from the rest. We have five dimensions. Okay, they distinguish one culture from another. These dimensions were developed by the Dr. Hostefeld. The first one is individualism versus collectivism, power distance, masculinity versus femininity, uncertainty, avoidance, long versus short-term orientation. I am going to explain about of each of them. Individualism versus collectivism. They are very different because in the individualism, I expect to care about for ourselves and our family members. It promotes independence and autonomy. For examples, countries like United States, Great Britain, Canada are considered individualistic cultures. On the contrary, collectivism promotes interdependence between people and their group. Countries like Ecuador, Japan, China, Brazil are considered collectivist culture. However, these cultural dimensions can influence in the functioning of a society. For example, in the way how the people buy something, dress, or learn. Right? Power distance. Right? It's very important culture because employees are very respectful and do not refuse their employers' ideas, decisions, activities, right? So we need to pay attention to this part because power distance refers to the degree to which less powerful members of society expect difference of power levels. Remember that Latin American and Arab nations rank highest in this category. The Scandinavian and Germany ones are the lowest. Masculinity versus femininity. Hosted in 1980 asserted that the masculinity represents the entire society's preference for achievement, earnings, assertiveness, and material reward for success. So, in other words, the society in general is more competitive, right? On the contrary, femininity refers or means to a preference for cooperation, modesty, concern for the weak, and quality of life. In this case, the society is more orientated towards reaching consensus, right? However, both terms, masculinity and femininity, men and women, must be vigilant and focus on people and quality of life, right? Uncertainty avoidance, right? It refers to the degree to which a society expects uncertainty and risks. It's necessary to make a balance and take prevention about all the risks that we probably have in the culture, right? So, for example, as much possible, people try to make a good life in order to be very predictable and manageable. Long versus short-term orientation is very simple because long versus orientation focuses in the future. On the contrary, short-term orientation focuses in the past and in the present. But what is the difference? That present and past are taking them into account for the future, okay? And all traditions are respected, but it depends of the situation. Yeah, it depends the situation of each country, like India, Mexico, United States, Spain, Germany, China, etc. Intercultural competence. We have three important concepts. So, intercultural competence refers to an effective and adequate behavior and interactions with the rest of the people in a society. We need to respect all the cultures by using good behavior, right? So, As I told you before, intercultural competence is associated with qualities such as ability. It's very important to show our ability in order to respect the people from other cultures. So, but the most important thing in cultural competence is that it consists of several words. These words could be words, signs, sounds that the people use in order to express themselves. The idea is to have or give a good important message, and it is necessary that to be very clear, right? What does intercultural competence means? So it's very easy because the author Skyward 1994 mentioned that it means being related to intercultural dialogue, since people benefit from the dialogue process. So it's necessary that each person being very competent and show sympathize with the rest. You need to respect the other's point of view, right? So I have wrote four aspects like understanding, adaptation, sensitive, and critical awareness. It's very necessary to understand each of other in a group or society, because you need to adapt, you need to follow the rules of that country, you need to very sensitive, in other words, you need to be very respectful with the rest. Yeah. What is the role for efficient cross-cultural communication? The main role is that it fulfills the role of communication very efficiently. So all the members of the different countries, society of the world need to be very comfortable in every aspect, right? So the most important part of, by having an efficient cross-cultural communication is that when you are working with foreign people and you need to do your work very efficient, right? But if you need to have or do your work very efficient, you need to show your respect. You need to establish the rules with the rest in order to have a good culture in your work, right? So high and low context culture is very important, this part, because in high context culture are less indirect, yeah, and place more emphasis on human relationships, right? So one example clear is when we are sent a message and this message is very codified. Okay, so the danger of this type of cultures in high context cultures is when the communication is very poor, right? In other words, when the message is not clear, right? For example, many Spanish people have problem when they are mentioning one of these days, or when they are saying we'll see each other. Right? Some expressions are very spoken by Spanish, and they have problem with this expression, right? On the contrary, communication in low context is often specific, detailed, and precise. So the instruction and explanations are given in writing, and the message is present clear and direct, right? So direct message are used in this culture. We have reason for miscommunication during cross-cultural encounter. For example, lack of knowledge about the other cultures. Some gestures probably that they don't mean the same in another or different culture. Lack of language comprehension. When we send a message and this message is not very clear for the rest, the rest cannot interpret it. Lack of skill during communication. It's necessary to develop our skill in order to transmit our message very clear. The rest don't need to have implications. There is no mutual respect and cultural awareness. Example, when you are looking someone directly in his or her eyes, yeah. We have some links between cultural dimension, cross-cultural communication, and the need to develop intercultural competence in the English foreign language in order to have an effective communication. According to Hofstede 1980, cultural dimension can be useful to understand cultural difference. The idea is to influence the communication, right? In the cross-cultural communication is crucial in the today's world, because when you are teaching English, is it important not only to teach the language, but also you need to develop your intercultural competence in your students. By developing intercultural competence, the students need to be very respectful, so you need to have very prepared in order to interact with your student, or when you have to interact in a globalized world, right? So we have 4 reasons in the cultural dimensions, and they are facility effective in communication. So you have a effective in communication when you are talking with foreign or native English speaker. Encourage empathy and culture sensitive. Remember that cultural difference and way of life are respected. Another reason is prepares for a globalized world. Example, you need to teach your students in order to work very efficient, right? Improve job opportunity. A good example, because a student will have a better job if they develop or they have intercultural skill. It could be a good opportunity in the labor market. Okay, teacher, this is the reference list. Thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed my video. Bye bye.